Well, if you're a gun voter in Park County, you have a choice to make in the upcoming August 20 Republican Party primary. Senator Tim French or challenger Landon Greer? Who's going to fight for your gun rights in the Wyoming Senate? Stay tuned, guys. We're breaking this race down for you right now. Hey guys, Aaron Dorr here with Wyoming Gun Owners. The August primary is coming up fast, and in Park County, we're being asked about this Senate race. This is District number 18 between State Senator Tim French and his challenger, Landon Greer. Guys, it's election season here in Wyoming, so suddenly everyone's pro-gun, everyone's a champion, everyone's a hero, everyone's a fighter. And of course, the reality is that so often the rhino candidates campaign on gun rights at election time. They hit Cheyenne, they do the exact opposite. They join with the rhinos to sabotage our right to keep and bear arms. So the question that we're being asked, in particular this cycle, is not who claims to be pro-gun, because everyone does. The question you've asked us very particularly is, who can we trust? Who can we count on to actually fight for our right to keep and bear arms? Guys, we cannot tell you who to vote for. That's beyond the scope of our organization. What we can do, though, is give you the information you have to make an informed decision. We do that by combining campaign candidate survey results, by combining public statements made for or against your gun rights, and especially voting histories to give you guys this snapshot. Now, we're going to begin with Landon Greer. The short version, it is a bad story here when it comes to Landon Greer. Landon Greer has refused to fill out his Wyoming Gun Owners Gun Rights Candidate Survey. Guys, in our experience, when a candidate will not complete a simple 10-question questionnaire, it almost always means that guy or gal intends to go to Cheyenne and join the rhinos and sabotage our gun rights. And what it also means is that I can't give you an answer on how Landon Greer would vote on the issues of the day. Everyone knows last session we passed House Bill 125, which would repeal deadly gun-free zones here in Wyoming. Of course, Governor Gordon vetoed that. That fight remains, it's unfinished business. And so we asked Landon, would you vote yes or would you vote no on gun-free zone repeal? He is refusing to answer the question. An ongoing problem we have here in Wyoming is also Fix NICS. It's basically, think red flag gun seizures light. It's a mental health gun control bill. We stopped it a couple times over the last couple years in Cheyenne. It keeps coming up. It's always Republican backed. We asked Landon, would you vote yes or would you vote no? And again, he will not answer the question. The same for every question we asked him. Would he vote to repeal Stand Your Ground law? That comes up every so often still in 2024. He will not answer the question. The same thing for waiting periods. You know, right now we have an outgoing state senator named Dan Furphy. Thank God he's outgoing, who recently was pushing legislation in the Senate to have a waiting period to buy firearms. Not a Democrat, this is a Republican. We asked Landon Greer, would you vote yes? Would you vote no? And again, he is refusing to say. Now, sometimes a candidate simply forgets the survey. That's hard to do because we mail it to them, we email it to them, we text it to them if we can. But sometimes they just forget it. And so we went to his social media, we went to Landon's website, I wanted to look it up. Maybe he has a detailed 10-point statement on his view of your gun rights. Guys, you can see it for yourself. There is no mention of gun rights at all on Landon's website. In fact, there's no issue tab of any kind. There is no statements, there's no policy positions, there's no issues tab, there is nothing on Landon's website. Very odd for a candidate who was running for state senate. So guys, when it comes to Landon, it's a lot of warning signs, a lot of red flags, and a lot of caution because he will not survey and he's totally mute on gun rights on social media and on his website. Not good stuff. And that brings up Senator Tim French. Now, Tim has been in the Senate for the last 4 years now, and in that time, we could probably give you details on 24 different times he's voted to protect our gun rights. The board only has room for, 4 or 5 here today, and I'm going to breeze through them as fast as I can. You should know that Tim has surveyed 100% pro-gun this cycle with WIGO, and we're always happy to get that survey. But again, more importantly, are the deeds, and the deeds speak volumes. Again, House Bill 125, we passed it this year. Governor Gordon vetoed the bill. It would repeal deadly gun-free zones. Tim French was a hell yes on HB 125, and more importantly, he fought for it on the floor in debate. You can look it up for yourself. This past session, we passed Senate File 109. It is now law here in the state, and it bans red flag gun seizures. You all know what a red flag law is by now. Someone calls you in, you might be dangerous, they ask the judge to grab your guns, seizure order is issued, and your guns are gone before you've been convicted of anything. That cannot happen any longer in Wyoming because we passed SF 109 this session. Tim French helped lead that charge, co-sponsored the bill, fought for it on the floor as needed, and was there for that entire fight. We appreciate that from Senator French. He was also there for the fight for the Second Amendment Preservation Act. You guys know this. This was 2 years ago. There was dueling versions of SAPA, but SAPA's main goal, the main idea behind SAPA is that it tells Joe Biden, or God forbid, Kamala Harris, that you cannot use Wyoming cops to enforce federal gun control laws in our state. We're a sovereign state. We have our own General Assembly. We have our own Constitution. We pass laws for our own state, and our cops enforce our laws, period. End of paragraph. That's what SAPA does. As you know, there was a hostile amendment or a hostile version filed on SAPA, which actually passed a much weaker version of SAPA. That's not a good thing, but what is solid is that Tim French was there leading the fight for true SAPA. It was House Bill 133. The vote was February 18, 2022. You can look it up for yourself. That's really strong stuff from Senator French. Also, when it comes to House Bill 125, there was 3 or 4 harmful amendments filed on that bill 2 days before session ended this session. I was there for the entire fight. These amendments, they didn't come from the Democrats. They came from the Rhino Republicans. Again, this bill would repeal gun-free zones. And the Republicans, the Rhinos, ran amendments that said, well, we can still make you vulnerable in hospitals, or you still can't carry on school property, or, well, if you do carry on schools, you have to tell them in writing 24 hours in advance in an email. It was all kinds of efforts to weaken House Bill 125. And again, this came from the Rhino Republicans. This was on March 6th of this year. It was House Bill 125, and Tim French was a hell no on every Rhino-backed effort to weaken that bill. So guys, strong stuff again on the amendment fight from Senator French. Finally, perhaps my favorite non-gun rights issue to talk to you guys about is that Senator French supports free speech. Everyone now knows that Wyoming gun owners members in 2022 decapitated the careers of a whole bunch of Rhino Republicans. The same thing happened in 2020. WIGO members at the primaries are a terrifying force for the Rhinos in Cheyenne. So after this happened, as you guys all know now, the state came after WIGO. This was Secretary of State Ed Buchanan, and he demanded that we surrender a list of our donors to the state. And we told him to basically go screw off. He then fines us in civil court. And as you guys all now know, we sued him the next day. We sued the governor, the attorney general, the secretary of state, all of them in federal court. And we won big. We won in district court. We won in circuit court. That fight is over. We won. Game over. That's why we can do videos like this right now. But before it got to that point, when the bill was making its way through the floor, this was a campaign finance bill, House Bill 49. This is March 7, 2022. There was a simple amendment filed, and it just said you cannot apply this campaign finance garbage to nonprofit organizations like Wyoming gun owners. Had that amendment passed, this never would have happened, and Tim French was one of a handful of Republicans who voted yes to protect free speech rights regarding organizations like WIGO. The amendment failed. The Rhinos carried the day, thus our lawsuits. We kicked their butts. We're happy with that. But again, when it counted, when it was tough, Tim French was there with a pro-gun vote on campaign finance. Because if we can't talk to our members and gun owners at election time like this, with videos like this, we'll never be able to out the Rhinos, and our gun rights will suffer. So guys, the recap is simple. Tim French, 4 years of fighting like hell for gun rights, on the floor, in committee, amendments, all kinds of things. Every chance he's had a chance to fight for you, he delivered in spades. If you see Tim French, thank him for his pro-gun stance. And if you see this guy, if you see Landon, be like, dude, what's your deal? Why won't you survey with Wyoming gun owners? Why don't you even mention gun rights on your website? What are you trying to hide? Ask him that question, guys, and see what he has to say. That's our recap on this race. If you're watching on our website, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're watching it, do me a favor, share it on social media. Make sure everyone has this information. And to get more involved in the fight, guys, go to joinwygo.com.